Hello, everyone. Welcome to Militarized Hypocrisy and how Governor Sherrill traded the Constitution for riot gear. The public square is being systematically dismantled, and the blueprint is unfolding right on our taxpayer funded streets. Governor Mickey Sherrill spent months positioning New Jersey as a moral counterweight to federal overreach, loudly decrying immigration abuses and promising that the state of New Jersey would never act as an arm of state terror. But this weekend on Doremus Avenue, the mask didn't just slip, it was replaced by a riot helmet. When the rubber met the asphalt, the administration's sanctimonious rhetoric evaporated. In its place stood the New Jersey State Police and the Newark Police Department, functioning not as public servants, but as an occupying force deployed to crush free speech, blind the press, and shield a private prison corporation from public accountability. So this is a whole illusion of a safe state, right? There is a profound, sickening hypocrisy in an administration that leverages progressive talking points on a national television while turning the state's monopoly on violence against its own citizens. For months, Trenton told New Jerseyans it was a safe haven. Yet when community members, grassroots organizers, and families gathered in solidarity with the human beings suffering inside Delaney Hall, the state response was identical to the most heavy-handed regimes in the country. The political gaslighting began almost immediately. The governor's office issued statements claiming that no heavily militarized forces or specialized tactical equipment were present. They told the public that the clearing of the area was a peaceful, measured response to ensure public safety and deny federal agents a pretext to intervene. The photographic evidence and eyewitness accounts tell a radically different and terrifying story. It's the tactical trap, kettling live ammo and information blackouts. What happened at Delaney Hall was not crowd control. It was a coordinated tactical assault on constitutional rights. Using the Orwellian framework of a state-mandated peaceful protest zone, law enforcement did not facilitate public expression. They managed it into a trap. Under the guise of keeping vehicle lanes clear, the public safety response team used these rigid boundaries to corral, isolate, and kettle demonstrators. And once contained, the asymmetry of force was unleashed. This was militarized deployment. Despite official denial, state troopers and local police emerged in full riot gear, carrying heavy shells and brandishing lethal firearms loaded with live ammunition alongside non-lethal launchers, and many of them on horseback. This was chemical and physical force. Multiple rounds of tear gas and rubber bullets were fired directly into dense crowds of citizens standing on public property. And then there was the press ban. In a direct assault on the First Amendment, law enforcement refused to exercise discretion, explicitly threatening independent journalists and members of the press, and immediately they would arrest them if they did not abandon their posts. So the strategy behind threatening the press is ancient and obvious. When you blind the reporters, you can control the narrative. So if there are no cameras to document the batons, the state can write whatever story it wants for the morning news cycle. And they attempted to scrub their hands clean by reframing state violence as an act of administrative necessity. So now the crisis is not just inside, it's both outside and inside Delaney Hall. We cannot look at the violence on the street without looking at the horror that has provoked it. This explosion of community outrage didn't just happen in a vacuum. It was sparked by the desperate courage of detainees inside the privately run GEO Group facility who launched a massive labor and hunger strike to protest conditions that congressional representatives have explicitly categorized as physical and mental torture. Inside the walls, human beings are facing pepper spray and solitary confinement for demanding basic human dignity, protesting medical neglect, forced labor for pennies, and spoiled food. Outside the walls, their allies, families, and organizations like Movimiento Cosecha are met with tactical shields and emergency 9 p.m. curfews imposed by Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. The state has coordinated at every level to ensure that the bottom line of a private prison contractor is protected while human rights are treated as a disposable nuisance. And that is a dangerous national blueprint that is arising right now. What we are witnessing in Newark is part of a dark systemic national precedent. This is no longer just an isolated crisis under the LAPD in California. It's a cross-country blueprint for the suppression of dissent. And when states that run on constitutional promises and progressive platitudes deploy the exact same militarized tactics as the federal apparatus that they claim to oppose, the very concept of a safe haven is dead. When armor-clad states force march through our streets to silence the vulnerable and threaten the press with a jail cell, it is no longer a defense of law and order. It is the steady, systematic execution of our rights parading right through our front yards. And if we do not call out the hypocrisy now, the narrative they reframe tomorrow will become the permanent reality of our lives. We cannot let that happen. So don't.